Three.
Savannah Schmitz. Savannah is from Waterloo, Iowa, and is being escorted by her parents, Eric and Ann Schmitz. Prior to becoming the manager for the women's volleyball team, Savannah spent 3 seasons as a Cougar. Her favorite volleyball memory is when everybody on the team worked to be the greatest critics when it came to biscuits with the boss. And that one night, late night practice, when everyone was going crazy sophomore year. Here's what Coach Palmer had to say about Savannah. Savannah has been an integral part of this program. I am so thankful for her help and commitment to the team. A NAC Scholar athlete, Savannah will be graduating in the spring with a degree in theology and minor in education. Her after graduation plans are to head into her deaconess internship and await a call to work in the church. Thank you, Savannah Schmitz. Number 3, Emma Schnegelberger. Emma is from Dallas, Texas, and is being escorted by her parents, Aaron and Rachel Schnegelberger. Emma has been a part of the Cougar Volleyball program for 4 years. As a defensive specialist, she had a huge match against Blackburn on September 2nd, where she picked up 2 service aces. Her favorite volleyball memory is driving the boats on the Chicago River while listening to Taylor Swift with her teammates. This is what Coach Palmer had to say about Emma. Emma is a passionate and hardworking player. On and off the court, she is going after her dreams, and I am proud of her for all she has done and will do. A NAC Scholar athlete, Emma will be graduating this spring with a degree in elementary education and minor in theology. Her post-graduation plans are to student teach in the spring and begin full-time teaching in August. Thank you, Emma Schnegelberger. Number 7, Isabel Vernego. Isabel is from Plainfield, Indiana, and is being escorted by her mom and dad, Dominic and Shelley Vernego. And by the way, in addition to today being Isabel's senior day, it is also her parents' 29th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. Thank you for all that you do. Isabel has played 82 matches and 298 sets in her 4 years as a Cougar. As a setter, she has amassed 2,538 assists, 701 digs, 106 service aces, 74 blocks, and 275.5 points. This season, Isabel passed the momentous 2,000 career assist mark to begin her senior year. Since then, she has crossed the national charts multiple times, as high as number 2 in the nation for total assists. Isabel has been a 3-time NAC All-Conference honoree, 1 as South All-Conference, and twice as honorable mention. Additionally, Isabel is a 3-time NAC Scholar Athlete and a 2022 CSC Academic All-District Team Member. Currently, Isabel sits number 4 all-time in assists on the Cougar record books. Her favorite volleyball memory was the first game people were allowed to come to after COVID her freshman year. This is what Coach Palmer has to say about Isabel. Isabel has been a rock for this program for 4 years. Only coaching her for 1 season, I have enjoyed her passion for the game and commitment to her teammates. She will be graduating this spring with a degree in elementary education. Her postgraduate plans are to student teach in the spring in Plainfield, Indiana, and then begin full-time teaching in August. Thank you, Isabel Bernardo. Number 15, Haley Moore. Haley is from Patriot Grove, Illinois, and is being escorted by Anthony and Kimberly Moore. Haley has been a part of the Cougar volleyball program for 4 years. As a middle blocker, she appeared against Monmouth and IIT in the 2021 season. For her favorite memory, Haley said, our team outings to the West Loop for some velvet taco, my sophomore year Halloween practice where I dressed up a pit bull, playing a drill called The Game in practice and camp every year. Here's what Coach Palmer had to say about Haley. Haley has a huge passion for the game, and the energy she brings daily is infectious. A NAC Scholar Athlete, Haley will be graduating this spring with a degree in Natural Sciences and a minor in English. Her post-graduation plans are to go to graduate school, teaching biology and environmental science, and going into research as well as coaching volleyball. Thank you, Haley Moore. Number 16, Carissa Lynn. Carissa is from St. Charles, Missouri, and is being escorted by her mom and dad, Jason and Anna Lind. Carissa has played 21 matches and 42 sets in her 3 years as a Cougar. As a setter, she has amassed 65 assists, 32 digs, and 15 service aces. A career high for her was set against Manchester University, where she secured 24 assists. Her favorite volleyball memory was when the hotel lost their reservations and she got to share a king bed with Emma and Lily. This is what Coach Palmer had to say about Carissa. Carissa has been a joy to coach. She works hard every day and gives energy and fun to the court and her teammates. A NAC Scholar Athlete, Carissa will be graduating this spring with a degree in marketing. Her postgraduate plans are to begin working in the marketing industry in the spring. Thank you, Carissa Lynn. And number 19, Sophie Kovakovich. digs against UW River Falls on September 17, 2021. As a three-time NAC Scholar athlete, she will be graduating this spring with a degree in middle grades education. Thank you, Sophie Kovakovic. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have one more big collective round of applause for our 2023 Cougar Women's Volleyball Seniors?
Good evening and welcome to Geisman Gymnasium here on the campus of Concordia University, Chicago, as we get set for some Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference women's volleyball action between your Concordia University Chicago Cougars and the visiting Raiders of the Milwaukee School of Engineering. Peter Borkowski here on the Cougar Sports Network, joined by Van Gato. And Van, it's a big day here for the Cougars. It's senior day for a very special group of these Cougar players, and I know you're an athlete here at CUC, so can you just kind of talk to us about, what it means to these players to have your senior day and be able to play for those players who are playing in one of their last home contests as a Cougar?
It's an honor. It's a momentous moment for all these Cougars that have put in time to this program. It's their final moments, their last year, and it's a special but bittersweet moment as they finish out their career as a Cougar.
So CUC coming into today, let's take a look at these two teams. 7-11, 1-4 in conference play are the Cougars. That's good for 11th in the NAC. Meanwhile, the Raiders, they're 5-11, 0-5 in conference play. That is good for 13th, so 2 spots below the Cougars. As for the starting lineup for tonight's matchup, let's start with the Raiders at libero. It's number 18, Emma Braun. And then following that is number 9, Anna Knudsen. Number 13, Emma Schatzschneider. Number 14, Olivia Bartels. Number 16, Samantha Johnson. Number 19, Emily Stratton. And number 20, Ava Larson. Head coaches of the Raiders are Christian Susak, Megan Lee, Rob Humphrey, Katie Augustine, Kyle Yackley, and the head coach is Tara Wood. As we are underway here in Geisman, that attempt from Haywood hits the net, but they're going to say it tipped off a Raider, so Cougars, they strike first. Really quick, let's go over that Cougars starting lineup. The libero is number 6, Bethany Rothel, and then following that, number 12, Grace Haywood, number 1, Acacia Brown, number 3, Emma Schnugelberger, number 7, Isabel Vernengo, number 14, Michaela Levoy, and number 15, Haley Moore, as Moore served that ball out, so Raiders get control of it now, and Grace Haywood unable to get under it. Service ace for the Raiders, specifically number 19, Emily Stratton. Stratton set for her second straight serve, coming off a service ace. Her service played by Haywood, and Vernengo tips it over the net. Right there is Braun to stop it. Carissa Lind, she wasn't able to get under that one. It dies down off her hands, and MSOE takes a 3-1 lead here in River Forest. Lind, one of the quote-unquote seniors honored tonight. She's actually a junior, but it will be her final season as a Cougar, as there's a big CUC point. You can hear the crowd all the way from up here, as there's a large CUC crowd here tonight to honor their seniors. As one of them seniors, Grace Haywood, now she was honored in last year's senior day before she knew she was coming back for her 5th year, so wasn't honored in tonight's ceremony, but this is indeed her last year as a Cougar, as here comes Kate Foley. Her attack goes nowhere. Raiders on the attack now. Bethany Rothel, good dig there by the freshman, sends it all the way back over, as going for another kill and getting it is 13, Emma Schatzschneider, the freshman. And Van, you talked to me pre-game that Schatzschneider, even though she's a freshman, she has some of the best stats on this team.
She's definitely a kill leader for MSOE. Their team, although they have not played as many games as the Cougars, she's definitely the biggest offensive threat that the Cougars need to watch out for.
Yeah, Schatzschneider, more specifically, 166 kills on the year, 3.02 kills a set. That leads both of those categories for the Raiders, as there's a little dunk down from number 16. That is Samantha Johnson going up for that floater, and she just taps it back over the Cougars' net. And that makes it 6-2 now in favor of the Raiders, pulling away here early in set 1. Brown, her serve goes to Foley. Vernengo sets up Acacia Brown. A little too strong on that one. It goes out of play. Point Raiders, 7-2 the score now.
The Cougars this year kind of have had a wonky season. They've been trying to find their footing with a new coach, but also with multiple lineup changes. They're an offensive front for sure, but have not found success defensively.
Yeah, Cougars under first-year head coach Andrew Palmer, as he's getting close to calling a timeout here. We saw Acacia Brown run into Isabel Vernango on that last volley. It is now 8-2 in favor of the Raiders. As Foley sends it to Vernango, who sends it to Brown. She sends it right into the net, and I think that's going to force Coach Palmer to use his first timeout. It is CUC needing to take a timeout early here. They're down 9-2 to the Raiders here in set one. And Van, we're going to keep it here during the timeout, but I mean, what have you seen so far from the Cougars or from the Raiders that has led to this 9-2? Because again, coming into the Raiders are 2 spots below the Cougars in the standings. Yeah, they're playing like a team who is 10 spots above the Cougars right now.
Yes, communication is really shooting the Cougars in the foot right now. They seem not to be on their best game with just the energy-wise and also just the teammate talking to each other. They need to build off that and make sure they could get the ball in and communicate with what plays they're running to make sure they ensure these kills.
So CUC breaks up the timeout. They're going to look for some luck after that timeout. Coach Palmer quick to use it here in set one as this team's down 7 early. Again, it is senior night here in CUC for this women's volleyball team. Carissa Lind, Haley Moore, Savannah Schmitz, the team manager, Isabel Vernango, Emma Schnegelberger, and Sophie Kovakovic, all being honored in today's ceremony. Grace Haywood, also a senior on this squad, but again, she was honored in last year's senior day. As the Cougars back on the attack, and they're going to get a point out of it. Kate Foley sent it right into the hands of Olivia Bartels, and Bartels just could not handle it, sends it out of bounds. And CUC back on the scoreboard now. And a hefty run from the Raiders as Bethany Rothel back to serve. Rothel serve heads right to the middle in Emily Stratton. As that's blocked up front, but Carissa Lynn can't get there quick enough. Blocked up front by Vernango and Levoy. Fell behind their backs, and it's now 10-3 in favor of MSOE. Coming in to serve is the freshman, Nakiana Crook. A low serve there. Cougars have some troubles with it, and Grace Haywood, a back row attack, pays off. Number 12 in maroon, doing what she usually does. And Van, if you need a spark offensively, you know you can usually turn to number 12 in maroon to get that spark. Just such a potent kill getter for this Cougars team.
Haywood is definitely the strongest offensive threat for the Cougars. It's only her 3rd year here, and she already has set numerous records for the Cougars. And she's just able, though she has a smaller stature, to find those courts and use that block and put that ball down.
Yeah, Haywood second in the NAC in kills per set and points per set, both. As she's had a very successful tenure as a Cougar. Violation on the Raiders, which leads to a Cougars point. They are now down by just 5, 10-5 your score here as Isabel Vernango goes back to the serving line. Vernango gives the ball a good couple bounces. One of the seniors being honored tonight, a high arcing serve right into the hands of Braun. That one blocked up front, Foley and Levoy. And that ball will be called a violation over the net on MSOE. So Cougar point, they pull a little closer now, 10-6 the score. Isabel Vernango to serve. Vernango, another arcing serve there as right at the front of the net, Vernango gets a piece of it, and Haywood's all the way back there as Rothel now has to send over a freebie. And a weird spinning attack off the hands of Ava Larson. That was a hard one to read for the Cougars. It tripped them up as it found space on the court.
It seems like also because of this match being senior night, the Cougars are playing a little stiff and rigid. So they need to find their flow in these upcoming points and just stop the bleeding.
As Haley Moore, her attack gets stuffed right back in her face. Larson is there as well as Jolie Harrington, excuse me. Out of Waukesha, Wisconsin, Harrington is. Moore tried to send it over, a one-handed bop, and the duo was there to shove it right back in the Cougars' face. As there's a nice attack by Haywood, but an even better defensive play from the Raiders. Here comes Kate Foley. She's blocked at the net, but Raiders can't do anything with the block, and the Cougars get a point out of it. 12-7 the score now. 7 serving 12. Emma Schnegelberger, another senior being honored tonight. Her serve is a good one. Here come the Raiders, and that's just flipped over the net. Catching the Cougars sleeping was Harrington. Use that little setter flip that you see setters like Isabel Vernango kind of pull out of their back pocket. Look like they're going to set up someone else and then just send it over the net instead. That ball at the net, 50-50 violation on Vernango. Point Raiders. So they're going to go up 14-7 now, doubling up the Cougars once again. Haywood receives the serve. Vernango now back to Haywood. An absolute rocket off the arm of number 12. Cougars back on the board, 14-8 to score.
Haywood has been able to cut that line shot. That's one of her specialties. She seems to be able to find that back corner, which usually for the middle back defense is hard for them to read and get to since they're covering that wide span area.
So into serve now. First time we've seen Katie Hadel tonight, number 22 in maroon. Hadel, a junior out of St. Charles, Illinois, and that attempt right in the net off the Raiders' hands. So Cougars, they get another point back. Hadel back to serve again. Hadel seeing increased playing time in her junior season compared to her first two. She's been brought in a lot to serve and for her defensive specialty, and that ball gets away from Acacia Brown. Point Raiders. Well, this is a tough stretch of play here for CUC. Their third day in a row where they've played a game. They lost to Edgewood on Thursday night, and then they lost 3-0 at North Central yesterday. So the CUC team playing a lot of volleyball in the last couple days. As Haley Moore, a big attack, it's blocked right back at her. Raiders still on the attack. As this one stays in the corner, point MSOE, 16-9 they lead.
The Cougars defense as a whole, their first ball contact too, really need to shape up to compete with the team right now.
As you get whistles blowing all over the place. And like the officials had given Bartles the go-ahead to serve yet. There's a little miscommunication there with our ball boys on the sideline. Either way, we're back in action now. Haywood, a strong attack. It goes out. No, Raiders got a hand on it. So Raiders point, 17-9 the score.
Haywood's coming in hot, but however, these first ball contacts, like we said before, and also these just unforced errors are really killing the Cougars right now.
Lily Hunt, she checks into the game. Her first attempt goes nowhere. Acacia Brown stuffs it back towards MSOE's side. That one's blocked, but the Cougars aren't able to clean up the rebound. You see Andrew Palmer getting up for his chair, and he's going to have a chat with his team on the sideline, probably eyeing that one timeout he has left as his team's getting doubled up here, 18-9. Make that 18-10 after the serve error from Bartles. Well, both these teams on 3-game losing streaks. CUC has lost 3 straight against St. Norbert, Edgewood, and North Central. That dates back to a week ago today at St. Norbert. Meanwhile, for MSOE, they've lost 3 straight against Wisconsin Lutheran, Dominican, and Lakeland. And that point goes to MSOE. So both teams trying to snap a 3-game streak. MSOE trying to get their first win in conference play. And that's going to be Coach Palmer's cue to use his second and final timeout of the set. His team, they trail 19-10 here in the first set. And we'll be back in just a minute as the Cougars need a big comeback here if they want to pull off a set one victory. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium, Peter Borkowski, Van Gato with you on the Cougar Sports Network. And Van, we saw Coach Palmer use his second timeout. His team's down by 9 late in set one here. What do we need to see from the Cougars here to close that 9-point gap and hopefully come away with a set one win?
Defense. Defense includes both the back row and also the front row with the blocks. Both ends really haven't been up to par this set, even though they have strong blockers with Brown, Haywood, Vernango, who put up numbers. They haven't really been able to find that spot. And also communication for the Cougars. They really haven't been communicating with this change in lineup.
Yeah, Coach Palmer not afraid to experiment with this lineup as a timing error there leads to a CUC point. Today's lineup also further experimented with due to, senior day. You want your seniors to get the start, and we saw that with most of the seniors getting the start here today. Haley Moore started, Vernango started, Schnegelberger started, and Haywood. CUC, they get another point back, close the lead down to 7. Coach Palmer trying to get his seniors as much playing time as he can here within their senior day, while still trying to put together the best possible lineup to get a win here. As MSOE, they're blocked up front, lands in play. Acacia Brown and Kate Foley build the brick wall and send it right back to MSOE. Huge block there.
And this is the presence they need to get these points. If they're not going to struggle with the communication part, they need to not struggle also on the defensive end.
No communication is needed there as Grace Haywood, a service ace off the hands of Braun, and that's going to force a timeout for MSOE now. Head coach Kara Wood calling his timeout, and so MSOE, they're going to talk things over here. We'll take another break on the Cougar Sports Network, and when we come back in just a minute, Cougars, they trailing the Raiders 19-14. Back here in Geisman, the timeout breaking up a little bit early as MSOE, they're ready to go. Up at 19-14 on the Cougars. Grace Haywood, her serve is over as MSOE has control of it. Here's an attack, blocked and down off the attack from Emma Schatzschneider. What a freshman campaign number 13 in red has been having. As they now leave it up to their libero, Emma Brown, to serve. Her serve is a good one, but the Cougars get control. Acacia Brown, and it stays in play. Acacia Brown sniping that corner of the court. And because of the Cougars back within 5, 20-15. Bethany Rothel, her serve is over and good. Here comes Shad Schneider, a strong attack. Kate Foley can't do much, but get a hand on it. And it's now 21-15 in favor of the Raiders. Back to serve is McKenna Crook. McKenna Crook, her serve is digged up by Haywood. Here comes Kate Foley, and it's blocked. Carissa Lynn's right there for the rebound. Levoy, she gives it to Vernango, pushes it over right into the hands of Crook. Ball back on MSOE's side. Here comes Shad Schneider. She's blocked up front, out of bounds. Point MSOE, 22-15 now.
MSOE has really been playing on the defense and using the block to their advantage and making the Cougars have to move to get that ball and keep the ball in play, which really has been their struggle.
Here comes Vernango to Levoy. A high pop fly off the forearms of Stratton. Emily Stratton then sends it over. Rothel to Vernango. Here comes Foley. Sideline to sideline hit. Goes nowhere. This ball pushed over. Rothel's right there. Here comes Vernango to Haywood. Back row attack, and it is out of bounds. Point MSOE 23-15 in favor of the Raiders. Raiders 2 away from winning set 1. Cougars, they're 10. As Haywood picks up that serve, and Kate Foley finishes off the play with the kill. Kate Foley will get kill number 3. She's ranked 2nd on this CUC team, 3rd overall in the match behind Haywood and Schneider. And now to serve is Vernango. Vernango, CUC stud setter, as this is a 50-50 ball at the net. Cougars lose it, and that brings up set point for the Raiders.
We'll see how Palmer shifts this up in the next set, and for the Cougars just to carry momentum and build off what they have right now.
Here's Vernango. She sets up Lily Hunt. Lily Hunt brings down the hammer, slams it right into the blocker's hands and down. 24-17 as Emma Schnegelberger checks in to serve. Cougars, they need 7 straight points here to keep their set 1 hopes alive. MSOE, they just need to get 1. And a service ace for Schnegelberger. How about that on her senior day? Emma Schnegelberger impressing. Her parents are in the crowd as well as the rest of the Cougar fandom in attendance tonight. As here comes MSOE, and that is it. Set 1 goes to the Raiders with that final kill. 25-18 in favor of the Raiders. Cougars are going to have to lick their wounds in between sets, and when they come back, they are trailing in the match 1-0. We'll have that action for you when we come back in just a second on the Cougar Sports Network and bring you set 2 action. MSOE, they took set one, 25-18. They hold a 1-0 lead here in Geisman Gymnasium. It's senior day here for the Cougars, as they're going to look to rebound after a tough set one loss. Let's look at some of the team leaders right now. 4 kills. Emma Schatschneider leads everyone with 6. Grace Haywood, she has 4 though for the Cougars. In terms of assists, both teams' leader is who other than Isabel Vernango with 9. And then in terms of digs, there's a 2-way tie for first between Emily Stratton and Bethany Rothel. And as for blocks, it is Acacia Brown with 3 for the Cougars, but Van Little less than 25 seconds to go here before set 2 starts. What are you wanting to see out of this Cougars team in terms of them getting back into this match and hopefully having a better set 2 than they did set 1?
Unforced errors. The Cougars really shot themselves in the foot with numerous missed attacks. So they need to build off that because they are such a strong offensive team, even though their defense isn't as strong as their offense. So if they could fix their offense, they could potentially win this next set.
So CUC and MSOE. CUC 11th ranked in the conference. MSOE, they're 13th. As these two teams are desperately in need of some conference wins if they want to look at the conference tournament, if they even want to sniff it. And immediately a violation called on CUC on the net. And that'll make it 1-0 in favor of MSOE here. Bartles, her serve is over. Vernango, she goes for it. Lily Hunt, does it stay in? It does. Lily Hunt. Pinpoint kill there for number 10 in maroon. And the Cougars, they tie up this set early, 1-1. There's Haywood, her serve is in. Service ace for Haywood. MSOE thought it was going out. It wasn't. And the Cougars get a point out of it. And another strong serve there from Haywood. This one goes out of play. And because of it, MSOE will get control of the ball now. Here comes Kate Foley, a little tippy tap, and it goes over. Kate Foley with the light touch, and she puts the Cougars out in front, 3-2 now.
The Cougars really showing their offensive presence during this set. After a set that they didn't really bring that out, even though they had some new seniors on the court and different lineup, they're showing that they can make it work and build off the momentum.
Well, they hope to do that off Katie Hadel's serve. MSOE was a tricky serve to handle. They do. Now CUC, they're having some troubles with it. As MSOE gets in control. Here's an attack. This one popped up towards the scorer's table and out. Point MSOE. They tie things up here 3-3. And a service ace here for Emma Brown. It was right off the hands of her opposing libero in Bethany Rothel. As this serve then goes the opposite side to Kate Foley. Whistle blown. Violation on CUC. We've seen quite a couple of those violations called on the Cougars.
It's hard with those tight balls, especially with a setter that's playing back row. And if you can't get that ball back over to your side, you're really just dumping it, which ultimately loses you the point.
And meanwhile, some friendly fire on the side of the Raiders on Brown's serve. She nails Samantha Johnson in the left arm. So because of it, it's a service error. CUC gets control of it. Now here comes Johnson. CUC able to dig that one up. Following dig there for Braun. As back row attack from Stratton. CUC in control. Here comes Foley. Blocked back towards the Cougars. Bethany Rothel's right there, but her touch goes out. And that'll be a point for MSOE. And coming into the game and going back to the service line is number 5. And it is McKenna Crook. Quick serve falls to Haywood. Now here comes Foley. He just pops this one over the net. Going to time up the attack just right. And there's a strong attack off the hand of Larson. Tipped by Carissa Lind before going out of bounds. Point MSOE. 7-4 the score now. Crook to serve once again. And it tips the top of the net and goes out. So service error on Crook. And the Cougars, who kind of relying on MSOE mistakes right now to get points. They will serve in Rachel Livesay. Livesay's serve is a strong one to Braun. Here come the Cougars. This is a nice dunk. One-handed by Ava Larson. Forcing that ball down. And MSOE expands on their lead 8-5. Back to serve is Schneider. Team leader in kills. 50-50 ball. Vernango wins it first. Haywood, kind of a weak attack. Got enough on it, though, as MSOE, they'd send it back. Here comes Haywood. That's a floater. One-handed move, and it somehow gets on the other side of the net. I'm not sure how that happened, as Acacia Brown then sends it out. What a defensive play from the Raiders.
Miscommunication in this first ball contact, which is the serve receive or the service side of the game, has really been not there for the Cougars, and something's off-putting. But they need to really find that control to win this game.
Well, that always helps, getting a rocket from Grace Haywood. 6-9 the score now, 6 serving 9. So here comes Rothel. Rothel, good serve there. As falling towards her bench and gain it was Schneider. But whistle blows, and that'll be a Cougar point. They're within 2 now, 9-7. Rothel, her serve too strong. And MSOE first team to double digits here in set 2. 10-7 the score. MSOE also leads 1-0 in the match. As Rothel gives it to Vernango. She gives it to Haywood. She's blocked up front and it hits the pin. So point Cougars off Haywood's attack. 8 serving 10. Schneider is there right in front of Braun to play. Here comes Schneider. Back row attack, and it just stays in the line. Schneider with some pinpoint accuracy on that touch, and because of it, it is now 11-8 in favor of the serving team, MSOE. Bartles in to serve now for the Raiders. Right to Rothel. Here comes Vernango to Haywood, and too strong off Haywood's touch. So point MSOE once again. They've seen their lead grow to 12-8. Bartles, a stand-up serve, no running start. Now Vernango, she's going to target Haywood, and Haywood able to get it in. Point CUC. Point Raiders, excuse me. Looked like the refs pointed at CUC at first. It is, in fact, MSOE point. 13-8 the score now. Haywood. As Lily Hunt tries to float it over, she does. Nice touch there by number 10 in maroon. And Van Lily Hunt last year largely used in a blocking role, and she's very good at it too her freshman year. But this year, Coach Palmer has her being a little bit more of an offensive threat in terms of her attacks.
Hunt being from that middle side, she knows how to block, and you want to have a strong blocker on the right side, but she also has that heavy hand needed for a good hitter. So she can be utilized as both any position on the court, but she's so effective in the right side and middle because of her blocking presence, her height, and her just heavy hand.
Hunt has been good in that department this year, as she has 63 kills coming into tonight's matchup, averaging a little over 1.5 a set. As Cougars, some nice defense to keep it going. Bartles now. That one forced over right into the hands of Renango. Here comes Kate Foley. Foley, it's tipped up at the net. And now a big attack there, but it hits the pin off the hands of Johnson. So CUC point. They're back within 2, 13-11 now. That ball goes out off a MSOE hand, so point Cougars back within 1. CUC trying desperately to close this gap. And Haywood's serve is going to open that gap up a little more. It's an errant serve, goes out, point MSOE, 14-12, the score now.
Both teams really need to establish that first ball contact, really not doing like superb in either the serve receive or serving aspect of the game.
And Cougars, they get a hard-earned point there. Back within 1, 13-14.
Really, this game will be won on the service line because right now, this set, no one has really gone for a huge lead. They've been going point for point, so if one team can find that core moment on the service line.
The serve is Hadel. Serve over to Braun. Here comes Bartles. Schatz-Schneider tries to advance the lead. That ball hits the net. Still live. 50-50 ball won by the Raiders. They haven't given up the lead just yet. 15-13 now. Raiders within 10 of set point. Emma Brown to serve. A strong serve to Grace Haywood. Renango, she sets up Lily Hunt right back at her. Schatz-Schneider and Larson say hello, and they make it 16-13. Brown again to serve. Othel down on her knee to get it. Here comes Haywood. Right back to Brown. Ball over the net and out. Point CUC. Getting knocked down was Johnson on the play. She gets helped back up. (16-14) now as Carissa Lynn checks in to go serve. (16-14). The score in favor of MSOE. Lynn's serve played by the Raiders. Larson, a big attack. She pops it back up off the net. Bartles is right there. Here comes Kate Foley, and it's digged up by Stratton. There's a strong attack. Haywood sends it right back off the first touch. And Haywood steals that dig away from Rothel. And Keisha Brown slams it down. Keisha Brown loves those 50-50 floaters in front of the net because she always emphatically puts it right into the court. And she's got her Cougars back within 1. Carissa Lind, and that'll be a service ace, and we are all tied up here in set 2. And that's going to force a timeout called by MSOE. They are tied up with the CUC Cougars, 16-16. They've seen their lead disappear. So while the teams catch a breath, we will too up here in the booth. And when we're back in just a second on the Cougar Sports Network, Cougars Raiders tied up at 16 apiece. Back here, second set, and we got a brand new ball game tied up at 16 points apiece between the Cougars and the Raiders. And Van, what improvements have you seen this CUC team make? Because this is a team who they lost set one pretty badly, and they were trailing for basically all of this set, yet they find themselves in a tied ball game now. What are they doing that has allowed them to find this tie?
Their offensive threat, they are making sure they could put up a block and they could also put the ball down. We've seen Cougars get on the board and also continue getting kills. And also the service line, they really have found their footing, getting these Raiders off their feet and not getting those perfect passes.
Well, back here in set two, and Grace Haywood's shot gives the Cougars a lead off the forearm of a Raider who could do nothing about it. And it is 17-16 now in favor of the Cougars. They take their first lead we've seen in quite a minute. Here comes Schatz-Schneider to try and tie it up. She can't yet. Rothel has something to say about that. That ball tipped right back at Foley after her touch. Carissa Lynn sends the freebie over. There's Braun to Bartles. Here comes Johnson. And Cougars, they want that ball called. Ref's not giving them any love. We're still going here. Rothel for Nango. Here comes Brown, and it is too strong. Point MSOE. CUC head coach Andrew Palmer talking to the far side official about that one ball that CUC thought a violation should have been called on. They get no love, and we're tied up again here, 17 points apiece. They kind of crook the serve. Haywood to Vernango. Here comes Brown. MSOE right there. Schatz-Schneider now. She gets a kill off the block. Schatz-Schneider loves sending it right into the blocker's hands with some spin on it. As that ball goes out of bounds. MSOE in control again here, 18-17. Second set.
With being a taller outside, she could see more of the court when she goes up. So when she sees a small block like Vernango compared to her, like height in the air, she could really use that and tool to her advantage.
And she's not able to do anything on that diving dig attempt that hits the ground. 18-18 the score now. Rachel Livesey in the serve. Ball up, calling for it vocally was Crook. Her teammates let her have it. Vernango now to Livesey from the back row. Braun is there. Now here comes Larson. Too much sauce on that one. And it touched a Cougar, they rule. Someone got their paw on the ball, and because of it, MSOE, they're going to retake the lead, 19-18. Schatz-Schneider to serve. Vernango for Haywood. Haywood slams it down out of bounds, and it is going to be 20-18 now. MSOE trying to find some distance here, and they're going to have a chance after the timeout called by Andrew Palmer, his first of the set, 20-18. We're going to stay here on the Cougar Sports Network. Let's look over some of the team stats so far tonight. In terms of attacks, Cougars edging out the Raiders 60-58 kills. Edgewood edging out, MSOE, edging out the Cougars 20-18. And I think, Van, the biggest number, the biggest disparity we see is in just the clean volleyball. Cougars 17 attack errors to MSOE's 7, and Cougars hitting percentage is at 0-17 versus the Raiders 224. And as obvious as it might sound, the solution to get back in this match for the Cougars might just be clean up the volleyball a little bit, play a little cleaner, play a little smoother, and get rid of those errors, which are kind of costing them big right now.
The unforced errors are definitely shooting the Cougar in the foot, causing them to really, they've been wailing this ball out and really have not been able to find this court space, which has been a real struggle, especially when their team is not the strongest at serve, receive, or defense. They need to find themselves offensively, and if they can't find themselves offensively, they're just giving the other team their points.
So the teams head back out onto the courts. The Cougars, as we've mentioned, are going to need to play a little bit cleaner volleyball as We do have a stat update there. Have 17 attack errors and a 0 hitting percentage. So the Cougars, if you aren't knowledgeable of volleyball, 0 attacking percentage means you're making just as many mistakes as you are good plays, to put it simply. Schneider, she makes a mistake there, puts too much sauce on that attack. It goes out 20-19 in favor of MSOE. Going back to serve is Rothel. Rothel serve played by Schneider. Now here comes attack from Larson. Rothel's right there. Now she's going to send it over. And now here comes Stratton. Great dig there from Livesay, but it goes out of bounds. Rachel Livesay, excellent reaction. Just a bad angle on the dig, and because of it, 21-19 the score now in favor of the serving team, Raiders.
It seems like there wasn't a full block on there, and middle back, it's very much a struggle if there's no block, because then you have to fill those gaps, and you're defending the whole back court.
Aerial attack coming from Anna Knutson. She gets the kill out of it. And Raiders well in control here, late in set number 2. Blocking has been a bit of a struggle for the Cougars all year. 84 blocks compared to 132 from their opponents. Now they do have more blocks than the Raiders, granted, but the Cougars, that front line defense has been a bit of a learning curve for Andrew Palmer's team in their first season. As Vernango, a high arcing serve. 20 serving 22. Stratton, her ball is stopped by Vernango. Here comes Lily Hunt. She'll get a kill. Lily Hunt, her 5th kill of the night. That'll put her in 2nd place on the Cougars. 3rd in the game behind Schneider and Haywood. And now it'll be Vernango to serve once more. 22-21 in favor of the team in red. Vernango's serve played by Braun and now pushed over by Schneider. Here comes Haywood. Blocked up front and down. Point MSOE. Raiders finding some success here late in set 2. Are pulled away up by 2 now. 2 away from winning set 2. As Bartles will go back to serve. Olivia Bartles, her serve is over. Rothel right there. Vernango. Here comes Lily Hunt, a strong attack. Brown is right there. Bartles coming cross court to get it. And Stratton, her ball is blocked by Levoy. Solo block by the sophomore, number 14. Looking like the Kembe Mutombo out on the volleyball court, and because of it, the Cougars back within 1, 23-22. Here comes Haywood. Her serve played by Brown. Bartles now. And there's a strong attempt and kill from Knutson. Rothel went down, just couldn't get in front of it enough, and that brings up set point for MSOE. Emily Stratton. This is set point. Her serve played by Rothel. It's a low ball. Cougars got to get it over. They do, but is it in? It is. Stratton plays it. Now Foley for Vernango. Here comes Hunt. That's hit by some blockers. Bartles now. Here comes Johnson. And great dig there. Ball is off the ladder. Point MSOE. And that'll do it for set number 2. Cougars fall again, 25-22, and now they'll be playing for their match lives when we get to set 3. MSOE, they take set 2, 25-22, up 2-0 in the match. When we come back, the Raiders will look to close this one out while the Cougars are going to look to prolong their senior day at least another set. Find out if they can do it when we're back on the Cougar Sports Network. Back here on the Cougar Sports Network, Peter Borkowski, joined by Van Gato. We want to say thanks to everyone making tonight's production possible here in Geisman Gymnasium. Down at the scorers table, Layla Scott and Abby Kulig, as well as Sydney Lloyd and a athletic communications department and women's volleyball alumni, and Julia Beers coming back working freelance for us. Always good to see JB back around working for the department. Sebastian Miller is floating around taking photographs. Meanwhile, up here on the booth, we have Amaya Martin producing and Ashley Schroll on camera under the direction of Cindy Palaska-Slaher and Kayla McLeod. But Van, in terms of the volleyball on the court, Cougars, they're fighting for their lives now. Down 2-0 in the match, but despite losing set 2, it was an improvement from what we saw in set 1. Set 1 a 25-18 loss, set 2 25-22. The Cougars were even in the lead for a little bit. So what was the key difference between those two sets that you saw, and how do the Cougars need to keep building on that to pull off a set 3 win and not go home a 3-0 loser?
They had less communication errors. Although they had more hitting errors, they really fixed up their talking and their just overall cohesiveness. However, the Cougars are really struggling on all lines of defense. They're blocking into the 2 wings, into their last line of defense in the middle back. They really haven't found that path to get that ball rolling and keeping the ball in play, especially when they're a strong hitting team and they're hitting negatively.
Again, CUC, they're going to need some magic to happen on senior day if they want to go home, or I should say stay home winners here in Geisman Gymnasium, as the first serve of the game will end, of the set will end as a point for CUC. Isabel Vernengo doing some good work on her senior day, up 1-0 now here in set 3. All up Bartles now. Here comes Johnson for the Raiders, and that hit takes out Livesay. Still able to keep it up enough for the Cougars to get it over to MSOE, and there's an attacking error on number 9 of MSOE, Anna Knutson. A great angle on it. Because of it, Cougars up 2-0 now. Bartles. Here comes Johnson. A strong attack off the blocker's hands and down. Point for MSOE. It's a 2-1, still in favor of the Cougars. Well, this will end a Saturday full of CUC athletics in River Forest and in the various other locations throughout the conference. As there's Lily Hunt. One-handed slam for the point. For women's tennis, they started off the day at 10 a.m. An early matchup against WLC. They dropped that one 9-0. And then the big football game against Aurora University ended not so kindly for the Cougars. Spartans winning that one 91-0. Hard to believe that score, even saying it out loud. Meanwhile, both soccer teams were up at the Milwaukee School of Engineering. Men's soccer lost 8-0. Women's soccer, we're still waiting on the official score from. And then we're wrapping up the day here with another CUC MSOE contest. This time women's volleyball at Geisman. And MSOE pulling back within 2 after Lily Hunt hits that ball out. Bartles. Her attack by Schneider is blocked and down for the Cougar point. 5-2 now.
The Cougars are really trying to find that momentum to get this ball and potentially take the first set for them. However, really on the end for the Raiders, what the Cougars need to do is make sure they're off their toes. Their serve receive is not the greatest on the other side. So if they can keep their first contacts good, they can ultimately take this set.
Raiders point there, so they'll come back within 2. back to serve will be Crook. Crook in this game, largely used for serving purposes, does have a pair of digs. So there's a pop fly. It's slammed by Larson. Cougars able to control it. Foley now to Stratton. Now ball sent back to Schneider. It's blocked up front. Lily Hunt, Acacia Brown getting the drop done together, and that makes it 6-3 in favor of the Cougars. Carissa Lind, she's being honored as a senior tonight, as this year, her junior year, will be the last on the Cougars squad. Acacia Brown's attempt is blocked right back at her. Kate Foley now gets over the front line, but in the back is Stratton, and there's a block and down for MSOE point. Back within two, the Raiders are 4 to serve 6. Cougars on top, 6-4.
And this is where the Cougars need to establish that first contact and make sure they could side out quickly to keep their lead.
Here comes Foley, a strong attempt and down for the kill. Kate Foley, our 5th kill of the night. That is 3rd most on the Cougars squad, behind Haywood and Hunt. And now it'll be Rachel Livesay to serve. Livesay's serve hits the net, so point MSOE. They'll stay within 2. MSOE doing a good job of just staying within striking distance of the Cougars. Waiting for the right moment to jump ahead. Rothel. And here comes Acacia Brown, way too strong on that one. 7-6 now. MSOE within 1. Serving is Eva Larson. It's played by Rothel, then Vernango. Here comes Haywood for the kill. Grace Haywood gets the job done, makes it 8-6 in favor of her Cougars team.
Haywood cut that ball using a thumb down shot. It was really well done, hitting the back corner towards the line.
Stratton, a strong attempt, and gets the kill out of it. 8-7 now in favor of CUC. CUC must win this 3rd set if they want to stay alive and force a 4th set. MSOE trying to go home with their first conference win of the year. They will tie CUC and conference record then at 1-5 each. Here comes Haywood, blocked up front, and it does hit the ladder judge, excuse me. He shakes it off like there's no tomorrow. Our officials for tonight do feature a active CUC athlete in David Vales. He's the line judge on the left of your screen. So fun to see a Cougar on the reffing staff tonight. As the Cougars on the court playing get a point, so it's 10-7. Kind of pushed ahead by Schneider and then forced back to Knutson. Here comes Johnson, blocked up front. Rothel cleans up the mess. Now Vernango to Lily Hunt. That played by Brown. Running to it is Schneider, and Johnson tips the net. Now Haywood falling down for it was Schneider. She keeps it alive. Johnson, too much on that one. 11-7 Cougars. And that's going to force a timeout by MSOE head coach Tom Wood. As his team up 2-0 in the match, they trail the set 11-7 against the Cougars. And so we'll be back in just a minute to resume set 3 action between MSOE and CUC. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Timeouts breaking up here as the Cougars on top of MSOE 11-7. Coach Tom Wood of MSOE calling that timeout. He knows what's at stake for his team here. They're looking for their first conference win. They have a chance to do it against a very tired CUC squad again. This is CUC's third straight game day. They've already lost their first two to Edgewood and North Central. And now they're trying to avoid a third straight loss in that 3-day streak. Isabel Vernango. Here comes Rachel Livesay from the back row. Schneider is right there. Bartles. She's going to go to Stratton. Block. Ball still up somehow. Lily Hunt and Rachel Livesay helping clean up the initial block. Livesay right there. She's playing some good defensive volleyball. It's still live. And Lily Hunt falling over. Cannot get it back in the field of play. And because of that, it is now 11-8 in favor of CUC. Haywood, strong attempt there, and she'll get a kill as that touched Braun on the way out.
CUC really found a way to limit those forced errors on their hitting end and really seemed to find a way to clean up their service, which is putting them ahead in this match. Livesay
checks out of the game. She's been doing some good work tonight. Meanwhile, Haywood, her serve goes out. 12-9 in favor of MSOE. Now, Van, the thing to remember is that even though the Cougars are up by 3 here, MSOE has shown they're perfectly capable of going on some good runs here tonight. So a 4-point lead for the Cougars. You still don't really feel safe in that, which is why it's going to be important here to just keep building on this lead if you're CUC.
Especially as we talked about, this game will be won at the service line. They trade for points, but whoever can find that service rally will really win this match.
MSOE keeps it in play, and now that one spiked right back by Brown and Foley, and this gets over the blockers' hands and out. Point Cougars. 14-9. CUC trying to pull away here, up by 5 in the middle of set number 3. They need to win it to stay alive. Bartles. Here comes Johnson for Hedel, able to dig it up. Lily Hunt, does she keep it in? She does. Lily Hunt has been explosive this game. 7 kills on the night for the sophomore, and the Cougars are 10 away from claiming set number 3. Hadel to serve. Hadel's serve is played by Braun, and now Bartles to Schneider. She's gone quiet, and right as I say that, she gets a point. Schneider has gone relatively quiet here in this third set, but she makes me eat my own words right before I even finish saying them. And because of that, MSOE within 5, 15-10. Here comes Brown. She gets a point. Acacia Brown increases the Cougar lead to 6. And coming out now to serve is the junior Carissa Lynn, being honored as a senior today, her last season as a Cougar. Schneider, it's blocked up front, falling. Isabel Vernango keeps it up. Kate Foley, her kill goes nowhere. Here comes Schneider again. Grace Haywood right there. Cougars playing some good defense. And Kate Foley, what a hit. It could have hit the pin. She kept it just in. Bethany Rothel now to Vernango. Here comes Haywood. And it is down. Cougars point. Oh my goodness. What a volley there for CUC.
This is a big momentum change for the Cougars, who were previously down in the last 2 sets. This will continue to push them forward, and it's a big energy booster, which will help their communication and their just strength overall throughout the next set.
17-10 in favor of CUC. Multiple highlight reel plays on that volley alone as the Cougars look to keep building on their lead. Braun, here comes Schneider. It goes to Foley to Vernango. She goes for Foley again. It's blocked up front, out of bounds, CUC point. MSOE trying to claim it, didn't hit any hands, that it just hit the net. And they get no love, and that will be CUC's 18th point here tonight in this set. And they are up 18-10 over the Raiders late in set 3. So we'll keep it here on the Cougar Sports Network. And man, I think one of the key things for the Cougars right now, and you can talk about X's and O's all you want, but right now it's just the energy level has been greatly increased in this set for CUC. The crowd, they got a big crowd here tonight for their senior day. The crowd's getting into it, and then their bench is really getting into it as well. But they're playing with a lot more energy than we felt in those first 2 sets, and I think we're seeing it translate into on-court success.
Really, with everything going on with their defense, their servicey of them hitting the ball in, not giving unforced errors, their blocking presence, something shifted between the second and third set. Maybe it was because they just realized how vital this match was, and they really want to win their senior night. These teams, especially the Cougars, they really stepped up their energy and built off each point, making sure they could clinch this victory.
Cougars still have a long way to go to win this match, but a set 3 victory is the first step in it. If they lose this set, they are done for the night. And so to continue a 3-0 scoring run will be Carissa Lind at the serving line. And it's popped up by Crook. Maybe not where she wanted to go. Here comes Shad Schneider, way too strong. Make it 4 straight points for the Cougars, 19-10. You see bench getting into it a little bit. As it is now 19-10 in favor of the Cougars. Here comes Shad Schneider again. They're trying to get her going. But she's been relatively harmless in this third set. Now Foley again, that's tipped off some fingers. Nice save there by Stratton. Here comes Shad Schneider. Bethany Rothel lays out for it. Kate Foley, and her attack is just too strong right outside the line. And that'll end a 4-0 scoring run for the Cougars. Makes it 19-11. Vernango, she sets up Foley, and that'll go out off some Raiders' hands.
These first ball contacts and converting these balls into side-out plays is really what is winning the Cougars this game. They're not really allowing the Raiders to build on rallies, and they're building rallies of their own on the service line.
20-11. Cougars lead, and Acacia Brown, a little tippy tap, sends it back. 21-11. Cougars up by 10 here in the third set. As checking the game now for the Raiders, Gillian McDaniel. First time we've called her name tonight, number 3 in red. And the serve is Livesay. Livesay serve. Bounced up by Stratton. And Carissa Lind unable to get a good enough dig on it. That hits Coach Palmer's papers on his chair. And it's now 21-12. Cougars 4 away from forcing set 4. Rothel, Vernango, she's going to set up Haywood. It goes out, but they're going to say it touched some Raiders on the way, I believe. And because of it, it's now 22-12. Bethany Rothel back to serve. Rothel, her serve hits the net. Service error gives the ball back to MSOE. 22-13 now. Checking in and serving will be Bartles. And here comes Haywood, a little floater and it lands. You see Grace Haywood pull out that move all the time, Van. where she looks like she's winding up for one of her missiles and then instead just uses her fingers to tap it over.
With having a big block up there, the Raiders are a taller team. When you have someone go up and tip in your back row, it's hard to read. If you just have a big block, you can't see past them sometimes.
And it's set point now for the Cougars. As Isabel Vernango coming off a service ace. Has a chance to put this set away, and the Cougars, a dominant win in set 3, is on the horizon. And Olivia Bartles, maybe some miscommunication. She comes out of nowhere, knocks it out of bounds, and because of that, we are heading to set 4 in River Forest. The Cougars, they win set 3, dominating fashion, 25-13. And when we come back on the Cougar Sports Network, we'll have set 4 action for you between the Raiders and the Cougars. Raiders, they lead the match 2-1. The Cougars, they need to win another set to force a pivotal set 5. See if they can do it when we come back in just a minute. Well, this game and today in the general wraps up Student Athlete Mental Health Week, which was celebrated and supported all week long at Concordia University Chicago, partnering with the Helinski's Hope Foundation, which is named after Tyler Helinski, the Washington State quarterback who tragically took his own life in 2018. The CUC women's volleyball team, they had their Helinski's Hope game here on Thursday night. The football team partnered with Aurora in today's game between the two teams to help support the cause, a very, very noble cause, trying to raise awareness for student-athlete mental health and make sure that everyone knows that it is just as important as physical health out there. If you want more information on how you can support, again, a very noble cause, check out HelinskiHope.org, as plenty of green has been going around CUC this week. That is the color of Helinski's Hope Foundation. And it's a very important week in the grand scheme of things. Comes to a close here, the women's volleyball trying to close it on a good note as they are trailing MSOE 2-1 in the match. But Van, they just put together the best set of volleyball that they may have played all year, honestly. I mean, I haven't watched every set, especially on the road games, but at least here in River Forest, it's hard to remember a better set that team has played, and I think most of it was just how clean it was at a certain point. Very few mistakes. Their execution was just on point all the way through.
Clean energy. Half of it was because this team does not want to lose a senior night, and they were making these forced errors on accident, trying to make sure they could get that big kill for the team. But however, they turned it over and are carrying their momentum as much as possible throughout this game.
And Grace Haywood right there gets her team off with a kill in set number 4. Grace Haywood, that'll be kill number 14 on the night for the 5th year. One.
And continuing cleaning up the game was really the main factor to winning that last set. They really cleaned up their serve receive, their defense, had more blocks, had less attack errors, and it just really made sure the ball flowed and they could side out, getting as many points as possible.
So service error from Haywood makes it 1-1. It's the first of 24 now. Brown. And now it'll be a back row attack from Stratton, and it goes out. Point CUC. Makes it 2-1. So in to serve will be Katie Hadel. Hadel largely been used in a serving role in tonight's efforts. As Schneider, a strong attack, it goes out. Point CUC up 3-1 now.
The Cougars really need to establish a hard presence on just their serves in general. The Raiders really haven't found a strength in getting that ball to that 3 zone, which can allow for their hitters to get those big kills.
Hadel, her serve just misses, makes it 3-2. I think the other thing to note here is if you're the Raiders, you're kind of shaken a little bit by this. I mean, you're up 2-1, and then you lose set 3. You're up 2-0, excuse me, and then you lose set 3 in pretty, emphatic fashion. The Cougars winning it by over 10 points. And now the pressure's on the Raiders to make something happen in this 4th set, because you do not want to go to a 5th set when you are up 2-0 at one point in the match. So we'll have to see how that affects this MSOE team, who still has not won a conference game yet this year. But you got to think that they're maybe a little bit shaken by the fact that, a lot of pressure is on them to win this set right now.
Volleyball is much a sport about mentality compared to a sport that is really about who has the biggest power, who is that. It's not always about the best skill because you're working in this team aspect to keep the ball alive and put the ball away. So whoever has the biggest mental aspect of the game will be the big winner of the night.
And it's now going to be 4-4. Good kill there up front for MSOE. And now it's the first of 21 points as we're tied up again. Crook to serve. McKenna Crook. Played by Haywood and Vernango. Vernango goes to Foley, but a ball is tipped at the net by MSOE. Raiders, they take the lead here in set number 4. Acacia Brown, she ties it up. Both teams 20 points away now from winning set 4. MSOE, they win this set, they're going home winners. CUC, they win it, they're forcing set 5. And now it'll be Rachel Livesay to serve. Vernango for Haywood, a strong shot for the kill. Grace Haywood gives the Cougars back the lead.
Haywood is really trying to establish that momentum for the team, getting these big kills these sets. She got the first kill, and she just got another one, trying to establish that she will be the kill leader of this game, and she will continue being that kill leader.
Grace Haywood, as Van mentioned towards the beginning of this broadcast, as Rachel Livesay gets a big service ace there. But Haywood, this is her 3rd year as a Cougar. She came here as a transfer. Her first year, she didn't really play that much. The coach at the time for CUC, just, not for any particular reason, just because of the roster at the time. She didn't get as many sets as she started getting her senior year, which was last year, and that's when she really took off, set multiple school records, set even a few NAC records while she was at it, and she's continued that success this season. Again, she's top 2 in the conference in kills and points, but she won't get anything there if she hits that one out of bounds. So Grace Haywood will be leaving the school as one of its most prolific players in history. despite a very short tenure. As Atasia Brown, her attempt is stuffed. Here comes MSOE, that attack. A little too much on it from Larson. Makes it 9-7 now in favor of the maroon and gold. And going back to serve is the one player wearing white for the Cougars. That is Bethany Rothel, the libero. Rothel with maroon lettering on that white jersey, and going down for the dig was Schatzschneider, but too low by the time she got her hand on it. And now it'll be a 10-7 lead in front of the favor of the Cougars. They're the first team to hit double digits in this set. Some MSOE chants coming from their bench. And that's a odd reception from Crook. MSOE able to handle it, however. Vernango to Haywood, and Schatzschneider sends that one all the way over towards the CUC bench. And because of it, CUC up 11-7 now.
This is really where the Cougars are going to win this game, is on the service line. The Raiders are a taller team and a very attack-heavy team. So if their serve receive is not the best, they will just crumble apart because they're already not the best serve receive team because they rely so heavy on that heavy hands.
Serving is Larson for the Raiders. They got a point back on the Rothel service error. As Haywood, her attack is stuffed, and then whipping on it was Knutson. Knutson just couldn't get anything on it, and because of it, it's now 12-8 in favor of the Cougars with Isabel Vernango back to serve.
Not just on the service line, there has been a lot of unforced errors in this game, meaning balls that really are lost just on the team, not the actual good kills. And both sides are in the double-digit marks, past 20 for unforced errors on the attacking side.
And Lily Hunt continuing an outstanding performance tonight. That'll be kill number 8. She'll take possession of second place on the Cougars, and that's going to force a timeout by MSOE head coach Tom Wood. So when we come back on the Cougar Sports Network, the Cougars, they're on top of the Raiders 13-8 here in a must-win set 4 for CUC. More action when we are back on the Cougar Sports Network in just a second. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium as the Cougars up 13-8 here in a must-win set 4 for the CUC squad. MSOE looking to close out this game with a win on CUC Senior Day. But CUC is doing everything they can to prevent that.
The Cougars really minimized their unforced errors, which has caused them to take this lead. And really on the service line, they have been putting that pressure, which has caused the Raiders to be out of system most of the time.
And here comes Stratton with the kill off the blocker's hands. Makes it 13-9 as going back to serve will be Bartles. And here comes Levoy. She sends it right into the net. And the Raiders come out with 2 straight points here after the timeout. And because of it, Cougars see their lead shrink down to 3. 13-10. Vernango for Hunt. That goes nowhere. Here comes Johnson off the blocker's hands up front. Rothel's there to clean it up. Here comes Haywood, a little floater. Bartles lays out for it, and then Stratton just punches it over. And now whistle blown. Two-touch rule called on CUC. That ends the volley. And MSOE now within 2, 13-11. Bartles for Vernango. Here comes Haywood, nowhere. Vernango now goes back to Haywood, and Haywood launches it into the net. 13-12. MSOE has shrunk the deficit to 1. Bartles' serve is good. Vernango for Haywood. Is it in? It isn't, and we are all tied up here in set 4. And because of it, Coach Palmer is gonna have to call a timeout. His team up 13-8, and MSOE on a 5-0 scoring run to tie it up. And let's take a look at the stats while we have a second. In terms of kill leaders, it is Grace Haywood doing what she usually does, a 16-kill night for her. Right, and the closest player to her is Shat Schneider with 11. In terms of assist, Isabel Vernango. Who else would it be? She's got 36. The next closest player is Jolie Harrington with 15. And then for digs, it is the freshman for CUC, Bethany Rothel with 19. Emily Stratton, she has 13. And as for blocks, the leader is Abel Larson for MSOE, Acacia Brown for CUC, she has 4. But man, I mean, let's play a little bit of coach up here in the booth. What do you think Coach Palmer was telling his team during that timeout? They saw their 5-point lead shrink to nothing, all tied up at 13 now. So what is the main message he was sending to his squad during that timeout?
We need to eliminate these unforced errors. It's definitely what's killing both teams. It's really what ultimately loses the point on both sides. Their attacking errors have been the worst it's been all season.
And whistle blows, violation on MSOE, so point Cougars. They retake the lead 14-13. I think a part of his message also had to be just, let's calm things down a little bit. We were playing really good volleyball since the beginning of set number 3. Let's get back to that. Let's just calm a little bit, right? We're right where we want to be. We have a great chance to force a 5th set, but if we're playing panic, which I think the Cougars were after that MSOE timeout, they aren't going to make anything happen. Meanwhile, they've scored 2 straight points out of their own timeout. It's now 15-13 in favor of the Cougars.
And really this game will be won by these unforced errors and the service line. Whoever can just be the cleanest on the court will take the lead.
Vernango to Hunt. And that block goes out of bounds. Point CUC. 16-13 now.
And really the Raiders weren't pressing on that block, which caused that ball to like shy left to us.
Raiders, they get a point back. So they're within 2 again, 16-14. Now Cougars, they get one back. That makes it 17-14. Ball popped up a couple times. Raiders in control. And that ball touches down. Raiders get point 15. Both teams now within 10 points of claiming set number 4. And Emma Brown to serve. Raiders, they get another point, 17-16 now. Here comes Kate Foley. She sends it right to Brown. Now here's a strong attack by Schneider, and we're tied up again. 17-17. MSOE just will not go away here in set 4.
Schneider really returned from being at, really she was hitting negative for a little bit, but building off on and putting that big attack to use.
And that ball was hit into the net, but the Raiders able to keep it alive. Vernango, a little push, and she gets a point out of it. 18-17 in favor of the Cougars. We are closing in on an exciting finish here in set number 4. And to serve is Carissa Lynn. This ball lofted over the front line. We're tied up again.
Cougars really need to establish the mental side of the game and make sure they're more confident to ensure they have the lead, because both teams are trading point for point, but really whoever's going to win this game is the most headstrong and the most confident.
Yeah, these two teams match up very well skill-wise, scheme-wise, whatever you want to say. So like Van said, it's going to be who has that final little bit of gas in the tank, and the Cougars get a big kill there to create some separation with the service ace from Rachel Livesay. 20-18. MSOE on their back feet here in set 4. That hits the blocker's hands and Rothel. Here comes Haywood, it goes nowhere. Harrington, she sets up Larson, blocked by Brown. Harrington, now she sets up Schneider. Livesay's right there. Here comes Livesay, back row attack. That one stopped, and Haywood tries to slam it back in the face of Harrington, but Harrington gets a block on it. That blocked up front. Here comes Vernango to Haywood, and that'll do it for the volley. Grace Haywood ends a marathon of a volley. And CUC now up 21-18, and Tom Wood is going to use his final timeout with the Raiders in this set, as they are trailing 21-18 late in set number 4. So we'll see who can pull off the victory here. Raiders, they win. We're done here. It'll end with an MSOE win. The Cougars, they pull off the set win. We're going to set 5. See who does it when we're back in a second on the Cougar Sports Network. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium. Cougars up 21-18 in this set, as they're looking to close out a set 4 victory and force set number 5 after trailing in the match 2-0. And like Vance said, the mental aspect is probably going to be the biggest thing right here, right now, as MSOE, all the pressure's on them. They're up 2-0 in the match, and they're on the brink of blowing that lead and going to set 5 as the Cougars are a point closer now, 22-18. But if you're MSOE, I mean, even though you're 7 points away from winning this, all the pressure is on you to be able to pull off the win here tonight.
It's really hard to convert that too, and the Raiders showed that they could come back from a 5-point deficit However, this game is really about, like we said at multiple times, who's ever headstrong, who wants that win. Both teams don't have the most stellar conference record, but who wants it more will ultimately come out victorious.
Yeah, Cougars are looking to break a conference win drought here as the Raiders get a point there. Cougars have not picked up a win in NAC play since last Thursday against Benedictine, while MSOE, they haven't picked up a conference win at all. Who's going to be able to do it? That's the question as Acacia Brown says, I can do it. She gets a kill, makes it 23-19. Bethany Rothel, though, freshman libero back to serve. Getting the start at libero today. Usually that's a role reserved for Shira Marin, but Coach Palmer going with something a little bit different. That ball lands right in front of Carissa Lind for MSOE point. Both teams have crossed the 20-point mark now. Cougars, they need 2. Raiders, they need 5.
The Cougars really been struggling trying to find that leading role who would take that lib spot, because they had a spot, a fifth-year player last year who really solidified her role on the team as the defensive captain. And they need to find someone to take that defense and build on it because they are such a strong offensive team.
Yeah, that libero we're talking about is Julia Beers, who I mentioned is freelancing for our department tonight over at the scorers table. And yeah, during her tenure here, JB was a standout libero, and the Cougars looking to fill her big shoes this year. And MSOE, they aren't done yet. Set point for the Cougars. MSOE gets one back, 24-21, but whether it's Marin, who came in as a junior during a transfer, or whether it's Rothel, who came in as a freshman, Coach Palmer just trying to figure out who's going to be the long-term libero now that Beers has moved on. Meanwhile, the Cougars trying to end this set and force set 5. They almost do there. Bartle is able to stand her ground on the Haywood Rocket. They're going to go to Hunt now, blocked up front and back at Hunt. And that lands for an MSOE point, 24-22 now. MSOE, they need to score 2 more points to keep their match, to keep their set hopes alive.
That's a big momentum change. Both a kill and a dig and a block can really cause some damage to the Cougars' self-esteem.
As this paw is played over, Schneider's right there. Here comes Stratton, Rothel's right there. And now Haywood tries to end it, she doesn't. MSOE, good defense here. Johnson, and that ball at the net. Cougars keep it alive. As Bartles flips it over, CUC, and that'll do it. Violation caught on MSOE, point 25 to CUC. We're going to set 5 here in Geisman Gymnasium. Cougars trailing the match 2-0. They've won 2 straight to force a winner-take-all set 5. So don't leave it anywhere. Maybe go grab some snacks really quick, as in just a couple minutes, we're going to get set for set 5 action. It's the first of 15 for the winner of tonight's match. See who can do it between the Cougars and the Raiders when we're back in just a minute. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium, less than a minute away from a winner-take-all set 5 between the Cougars and the Raiders. Raiders up 2-0 in the match, and the Cougars storming back to force a winner-take-all set 5. It's the first of 15, win by 2 in set 5 action. And Van, volleyball player yourself, you played in plenty of these set 5s, I'm sure. But, I mean, what does your mindset have to be for either of these two teams in this set 5 if they want to pull off the win? You have less points to score, so a little less room for error. So just what needs to be going through their head to be able to come out with the win?
On the Raiders side, I would be at a low right now, thinking about we cannot have this reverse sweep. The Cougars really have taken 2 sets in a row towards the end when they already had a 2-0 lead. Well, for the Cougars side, they have all the momentum. It's in the Raiders' court. It's everything on them. It's for this game for them to lose, because the Cougars came up and came from a deficit.
Right. Well, all that pressure has got to be on MSOE to not blow a 2-0 lead. Wow, the Cougars. And we really saw it ever since that third set started when they were down 2-0. The Cougars have been playing a little bit more energized, a little bit more loose, it seems like, not as rigid as when they started out here on senior day. And that's kind of another factor at play here tonight. Cougars trying to pick up a big and memorable win for their seniors. Crystal Lind, Isabel Vernango, Haley Moore, Savannah Schmitz, the team manager, Isabel Vernango, Emma Schnegelberger, and Sophie Kovakovic. And then Grace Haywood was an honor tonight, but she is graduating this year. She was honored as part of last year's senior group when she didn't realize she was coming back for her 5th year, but how glad everyone is to have her back with her killing prowess. But right now, Cougars and Raiders start set 5. First of 15, and first on the board is the Raiders. 1-0 after that kill.
The Cougars really have 2 different versions of their team. I almost see it like a coin. They either have their heads up high, they're playing very confident, or their tails down and they are very timid. Not as much communication on the court. So it's really fun to see it, but it's also stressful at the same time. Trying to figure out what team will be here and what team will be present. We've seen them with their heads high against Benedictine. But then when it's games like this, the Cougars really need to find their footwork and find what will make them and define them as a team besides this fickle play.
2-0 lead for the Raiders. Here comes Haywood, a big block up front. Haywood's right there to rebound it. Haywood goes for it again, sends it over the front line. Shat Schneider goes down for it. Now she sends over a back row attack. Rothel to Levoy, errant touch there. That leads to another Raiders point, up 3-0 in the 5th set.
Really, whatever team gets to that 8-point lead, not 8-point lead, those first 8 points, can see ultimately that victory and have a better chance of it.
Well, in terms of that 8-point lead, MSOE is halfway there as Coach Palmer of the Cougars has to call a timeout. His team down 4-0 early here in set 5, and Van, we're talking about mindset and everything, you know, coming into set 5, but now that we're in it and the Cougars are down 4-0, I mean, what do they need to do here, whether it be mindset-wise or whether it be what we're actually seeing X's and O's on the court? What do they need to do here to stop the bleeding here in set 5 and catch back up?
Their serve receive, their communication, and they're limiting these forced errors. It hasn't been one thing. They've had multiple, like, not perfect passes. They haven't had perfect hits. They haven't got their feet to the ball. They really need to clean their play, because what was winning this game for them was their clean, cooperative motions. It seems like the team's just going through the motions, trying to get through this 5th set. But that's not what's going to win you the game.
Right. Well, they got some big changes to make as they're down 4-0 here in set 5. It's the first of 15, so the Raiders are already 11 points away from winning it, while the Cougars are hoping that their comeback doesn't fall just short of the end goal. 4-0 here in set 5 as back to serve for MSOE is Stratton. Stratton gets set for the serve. It's over. Here's Livesay for Vernango, and now Haywood, and Bartles is right there. Stratton sends it over, and it's out. That's Shat Schneider, excuse me. But what a bang-bang play from the Raiders. Bartles dig right to Schatschneider. She decides to just whip it over, and the Cougars cannot think on their feet quick enough. Raiders 10 away from claiming victory. Vernango for Hunt, and that's down. Cougars get their first point of the set. 5-1 the score.
Hunt finally reaching that 10-kill mark, trying to make her name during this game when the Cougars need her the most. She really has stepped it up.
Yeah, Lily Hunt having a really nice performance here tonight as MSOE and Cougars going at it in this volley. Hunt again, and she strikes again. Lily Hunt, have yourself a night. Well, that will go down as kill number 11. And because of it, the Cougars back within 3, 5-2. Here comes Haywood. Brown. And Schatschneider, just a little tap. Cougars able to respond. Here it comes Foley, pops it up. And right there's Bartles for Braun. Here comes Johnson, and Vernango's there. Vernango to Haywood to Hunt. She's blocked up front. Schatschneider and Knutson. And now Foley sends that one to the back row. And Stratton's there. Schatschneider, diving play by Bethany Rothel. Here comes Foley, it stopped. And now Schatschneider again. Haywood to Vernango to Levoy. Point Cougars! 5-3 the score.
This is a real momentum change for the Cougars. 3 kills in a row. That's really hard for on a morale side just for the Raiders after they had such a big lead. To lose that based on not even forced errors on their side, but just big kills.
Should mention, we're talking about Lily Hunt. She's tied her career high in kills, and Grace Haywood. She gets the Cougars within 1. 5 straight points for CUC, but don't want to skip over it. Hunt, 11 kills, ties her career high. She said it earlier this year. One more, she'll be able to break it, and the Cougars are going to need her to step up. As Haywood to Braun. This one is going out. Bartles saves it. Whistle blows, however. And that'll be point CUC. We got a brand new ball game here in set 5.
Looks like that right over the 10. It's fair for the team to go on the other side, try to keep the ball in play, but if it's just shy of that, ultimately they can't keep that ball over.
5-5 as Haywood's serve is a low one off Stratton's hands, and Schatschneider can't get there. Service ace, Haywood, and because of it, it is now 6-5. In favor of the Cougars.
Let's talk about Haywood's serve for a little bit. When she starts so far back, when she's doing a jump float, with it being so much power on it, she could be so far back, use as much power, and try to get it as tight as the net as possible. And those are the hardest ones to use your serve receive and get your platform formed.
A 6-0 scoring run for the Cougars, thanks in large part to the efforts of Grace Haywood. In terms of stat leaders, Haywood, 18 kills on the night. That leads all players. Schatschneider just a few behind her at 16. In terms of assists, Isabel Vernango, 45. I mean, what else can you say about the senior that hasn't been said about her before? Always seems to be eclipsing that 40 assist mark, assuming she gets enough sets to play in. In terms of digs, it's the freshman Bethany Rothel. She's got 23. And then for blocks, we have Ava Larson with 6. Right behind her is Acacia Brown on the Cougars with 5. 6-5 here in the 5th set. The Cougars 9 away from winning this match and pulling off the reverse sweep. They aren't there yet, however, as Haywood gets set to serve once more. 6-0 scoring run for CUC. Haywood serve way too strong and out, and we're tied up again at 6. But, man, that's something we really haven't seen the Cougars do too much of tonight, is going on big runs. Right? We've seen them kind of chip away at this MSOE team at points, but we haven't seen a big 6-0 run like that. But 5th set, there's no better time to pull it out. As Rothel sends over a freebie, Stratton, an errant reception, point Cougars. They're back on top, 7-6.
For the Raiders on their end, they're really good at keeping the ball, if it's out of system, converting that and trying to make a play out of it. And the Cougars really have been shaken up by that, but they really have been, this set especially, stopping that, converting that, trying to get big kills to stop, even if it's out of system, to get their points of their own.
7-6 in favor of the Cougars as Katie Hadel serve. Oh my goodness, getting a helping hand from some higher beams. Picks a weird bounce off the net and somehow stays in play. Cougars, they hit that 8-point mark Van was talking about earlier, and it is now 8-6 as we switch sides on the court. MSOE, they got some work to do here in this fifth set.
Honestly, you can't even be mad if you're a Raider on that. That was just a wonky serve that rolled over the net. Although it's frustrating, you got to brush it off. Those are always the most frustrating when it comes over because it's, wow, it really hit the tape and you could have been set, but just because it hit the tape, it changes the game and changes the pass.
Hadel serves again after her 1 in a million serve the last time. Now she sprawls out for a dig. Great move there by number 22 in maroon. Here comes Johnson. She can't get anywhere with it. And now Lily Hunt taking out a player as well. Braun just couldn't handle the heat. She gets knocked on her back, and it's 9-6 in favor of the Cougars. Hadel. Cougars trying to hit that 10-point mark. They'll have to wait as Hadel's serve goes out of bounds, but she came in. She did her job. The Cougars were on a 3-0 scoring streak, and now it'll be 9-7 as checking into the game and serving is Alexis Hicks. Here comes Hunt. She's blocked up front. Bethany Rothel. She's been coming alive this game. Now Foley, too high an arc on that one. It goes out. It's 9-8 now in favor of the Cougars. MSOE chipping away at this lead. Rothel to Vernango. Here comes Foley. And now Schatz-Schneider, her hit goes right into the net. Cougars, they hit the 10-point mark. They are 5 away from claiming this game. What a turnaround it would be for the CUC squad. They looked done after that second set loss, and they've come alive in the last 2.5 sets as they are now 4 points away from claiming the win.
This is really a momentum change the Cougars needed, building their spirits, building that confidence to ultimately try to take this lead and continue their conference, not streak, but breaking their loss streak.
Cougars on a 3-game slide in a pivotal part of the season. Looking to break it and get some momentum as we start to hit the games, the heart of conference play. We are in the heart of conference play, but as we really hit those games, you need to start winning. 11-9 now.
We've seen them win pivotal games when they beat Benedictine. They need to convert those types of wins and do those against the teams that are not always the strongest.
And Haywood's attack just goes out. Looked like it stayed in. The officials say otherwise. But in terms of 5-set matches this year, the Cougars lost 1 against Earlham, 1-1 against Lake Forest, 1-1 against Franklin, and 1 another against Benedictine. So they're 3-1 in these 5-setters, which, not that you necessarily want to be in a lot of 5-setters, but that's a good sign to see if you're Coach Palmer that when the going gets tough, this team can pull through and play some exhaustive volleyball, especially now on the back end of a 3-day game streak. As here comes Stratton off Lynn. Haywood pushes it over. 12-10 here in favor of the Cougars. Lynn there again, it's still alive. Acacia Brown sends it over. Oh my goodness. Carissa Lynn pulling out all the stops defensively. Here comes Haywood. It's blocked up front and it's down. Some great defense from the Cougars, not enough to get the point. 12-11, going back to serve is Larson.
It's a frustrating point for the Cougars end, but also a big one for just the Raiders. They could build that energy and continue to try to take a lead.
Here comes Acacia Brown. That's a great dig, but whistle blows. Violation on MSOE. Cougars, they are 2 away from doing it. Bethany Rothel. Rothel's serve is good. Braun is there. Here comes Bartles for Knudsen. Ball bounced around at the net. Now Lind for Vernango for the kill. Cougars are within 1. And that's going to force a timeout by Tom Wood and the Raiders, the Milwaukee School of Engineering Raiders. And man, what a turn of events we've seen here tonight. Cougars lose the first set, 25-18. They look better in that second set, 25-22, but MSOE seems to be in control of things. And then they come back with a huge set 3 win, 25-13. One of the best sets of volleyball we've seen from this team all year. Scrape out a 25-22 win in set 4, and now they're 1 away from pulling off the reverse sweep and winning the set in 5. I mean, I don't really know what else there can be to said other than what a turnaround from Coach Palmer and his squad to get to the point they're at now.
It seems like this team is a completely different team that walked into the gym today. Not just saying because some seniors were out, but there was some timidity when they came out, coming off of 2-loss streak when they were on the road, and not just on the road, when they were at home against Edgewood, converting that over. They really need to turn this out and build that momentum so they can continue into these next upcoming conference games with their head held high.
All I know is the Cougar fans are on their feet. They're going to go crazy if the team can pull this off. Bethany Rothel. Cougars need 1. Her serve, played by Schatschneider. Bartles to Stratton, and that's a MSOE point. 14-12. MSOE not done yet as Bartles goes back to serve. 12 serving 14. Olivia Bartles. Livesey for Vernango. Here comes Haywood. The block is right into Bartles' hands. We're not done yet. Stratton now. She's blocked up front, and it's out. MSOE back within 1, 14-13.
The Cougars just need to recollect. They have the lead. They're up 2. They just need 1 to secure this set.
And that's exactly what Coach Palmer is going to try to do as he calls a timeout. Remember, in volleyball, it's win by 2. So this is the Cougars' last chance to win this match without the need of extra volleyball in already a set of extra volleyball, this 5th set. But let's catch our breath for a minute. Let's look at what these two teams, or this Cougars team, I mean to say. Well, let's look at what both of them have coming up on the schedule. MSOE, they got a non-con at the University of Wisconsin lacrosse on Monday, a rare Monday game. Don't see that a lot in the volleyball schedules. Then they're back in conference play that Wednesday, October 11th, against Rockford University at the Milwaukee School of Engineering. Meanwhile, the Cougars, they're done with non-cons, except at the very end of the season, there is one more, it looks like, at Elmhurst University. But they're got to finish up NAC play before they hit that Elmhurst game. They'll be back at it on Thursday, almost in a week, as they host Dominican University. That a big cross-street rivalry as we're here in set 5. Cougars need 1. Vernango to Haywood, a little tap. Right there is Braun. Here comes Bartles to Johnson. Rothel is there. Vernango. Haywood for the game. It's out and it's in for a Cougars win. It's off the hand of a Raider and the Cougars pull it off. A reverse sweep on Senior Day. Oh my goodness. What a game from the Cougars.
Honestly, what a way to end it with one of Haywood's specialties, her thumb down hit where she goes across her body and just gets that back corner. Using that effective. Her height by tricking them up by using the thumb down, thumb up shot. She really can find those corners and make the last line of defense, the middle back, not on their toes.
Well, we're going to catch our breath for a second. Let's look at some of these stat leaders from the night. In terms of kills, who else would it be but Grace Haywood, 19 kills on the night. Right behind her is Emma Schatzschneider for MSOE. She has 16. In terms of assists, Isabel Vernango, 48. The next closest player was Jolie Harrington with 15. What a difference in those two stats. As for digs, it'll be the freshman Bethany Rothel with 24. For MSOE, it was Emily Stratton with 17. And in terms of blocks, it'll be Ava Larson with 7. Acacia Brown, she had 5. She led the Cougars. But, man, Cougars down 2-0 in the match. They win 3 straight to pull off the victory against the Raiders. Just give us your final thoughts, final takeaways from a very, very exciting day of volleyball for the women's squad.
Honestly, the shift in energy and limiting those unforced errors compared to the Raiders' size is what won the game for the Cougars.
So the Cougars, they'll be back at it on Thursday, October 12th, right here in Geisman Gymnasium as they host the Cross Street rivals Dominican University. That game starts off at 7 p.m. Coverage can be found on our website, cucougars.com, the live stream on our YouTube page, CUC Sports. But until then, that'll do it for this presentation of the Cougar Sports Network. Wanting to thank everyone who made it possible. Down at the scores table, we had Abby Kulig as well as Layla Scott. And then Sydney Lloyd helping out a little bit, and Julia Beer is our freelancer alumni of the department coming back to help us out. As for up here in the booth, we had Ashley Schroll on camera, Maya Martin on production, Sebastian Miller floating around taking photos. I was Peter Borkowski. I'm joined by Ben Gato, but don't go anywhere just yet. In just a few minutes, we're going to have coach of the Cougars, Andrew Palmer, up here in the booth. We'll get his final takeaways from tonight in a post-game interview. So don't go anywhere just yet. Cougars, they take down MSOE 3-2 on Senior Day. But Coach Palmer interview coming up momentarily, so stick around on the Cougar Sports Network. What's going on, Cougar fans? Peter Borkowski back here on the Cougar Sports Network, and I'm joined by coach of the CUC women's volleyball team, Coach Palmer. Your team, I mean, what can you say? A senior day reverse sweep of the MSOE Raiders, and I guess let's start with that right there. Your team fell down 2-0 to begin the match, and before that third set started, I mean, what were you kind of telling your team to make sure that they were still in this game and they knew they had a chance to come back and win it like they did?
Yeah, that's a gritty performance, and going out and reversing sweeping any team is hard to do. Your back's against the wall, and I just told them our character is going to come out here. We're going to see what we're made of here, and we're going to do it. Like, we're good enough, to win this game. Let's just go out and take care of business and just play volleyball. Don't worry about anything else. Just take care of each other and keep moving forward.
Right. And then on the court, in terms of like the actual X's and O's, I mean, what were some of the major improvements that you saw that led from that dramatic shift? Because the team from the first two sets that we saw looked like a drastically different team than the team who ended it with a win. So what were some of the key improvements you saw that led to that success?
Yeah, it was about all of our defense, first of all. We put on some good service pressure, and that really helped us get a little bit easier ball back. But when they were in system, we had to play some really good defense. We had to make some big saves, and just playing together. I mean, that's the huge thing. If you get one save, everyone's got to kind of chip in. You go off script at that point, and so then it's about communication and teamwork and just taking care of each other.
Right. And it was senior day, as we mentioned, so I'm sure for you and for the rest of the players, this meant a lot to be able to pull this off for their seniors, a very important group of seniors to this program. And again, I'm sure that being able to not only get a win, but get a dramatic and a memorable win at that, that's going to mean a lot to the senior group as well as the rest of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Senior day is great. You get to honor the people that have been here for 4 years and dedicated their career, their collegiate career to this program, and just to be able to contribute and help every day, let us get better. Whether you touch the floor one time or a million times, you're helping contribute and helping this program get better. And so I'm glad we were able to honor them, and I'm glad we were able to, get a win for them.
Right. And then last thing here, Coach, you guys got Dominican next Thursday. You have some time off before then. But, I mean, how do you build off of this win now? We're entering a really important stretch this season as we're starting to get towards the latter half of it. So, I mean, what are your team, what are you going to take away from this to build upon so you can enter that Dominican game with some momentum?
Yeah, we definitely need to continue that defensive effort and hustle and just wherever the ball is, we got to go get it.
Right.
And then we got to crisp up a little bit on offense. Those are some things we'll want to work on this week. But that defensive effort and the service and serve pressure is going to be huge for us moving forward.
Well, the Cougars are back in action next Thursday when they take on Dominican. Some cross-street rivalry going on. Coverage for that can be found at our website, cucougars.com. It's set for a 7 p.m. first serve time. But, Coach Palmer, congrats on your senior day win, a 3-2 win over MSOE. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday night.
Thank you as well.
But until next time, this will be Peter Borkowski signing off of the Cougar Sports Network and wanting to say, as always, go Cougars.